Hello, everybody. It is 8:51. I am on here way earlier than usual, but I have a lot of things that I am getting to today, and so I needed to get on early. And if you guys are not on live, then you can catch the replay. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is why you guys are not being able to find your ideal client. This is a question that people get a lot, is identifying their target client. And so one of the things and questions I wanted to respond to was the person who joined. And I don't have names, but when you guys join, you answer those questions and about challenges. And so one of the challenges that came up was essentially getting the business, up and running. I'm forming my packages and making final decisions on pricing and target market. So that question or challenge really jumped out to me because to me, it seems like you're doing it backwards. Now, I don't know who this person is because I just cut and copy the challenges, and then once I approve you guys in the group, the questions go away. So I don't know who necessarily wrote the challenges. But if you are, ready to go with your services and your website is up and you're still trying to identify your target client, you're doing it backwards. So this is usually the thing that people do save for last because they have a hard time really narrowing down and committing to a target client. It's something that when I work with my one-on-one clients or I'm working in a group with other personal stylists, that's something we cover second. So the very first thing we cover is just some foundational stuff, and then we move into your ideal client, your niche, and all of those things because it is the building block to building your entire business. It's the building block to making services. It's the building block to marketing. It's the building block to creating a website. So all of these other things need to come after you know who you're talking to. So one of the ways that I help people work through figuring out who their ideal client is I really tell people to look at yourself. A lot of times, your ideal client is actually going to be a reflection of you. So if you're struggling with finding an ideal client, you may need to take a step back and say, is this ideal client that I want to work with? Why am I choosing to work with them? Am I choosing to work with them because I think maybe they're going to have a lot of money and it's going to be a really great market for me? Or are you choosing to work with them because you really can help them solve their problems and because you can identify with them? So for example, with me, my ideal client are really women who want to create capsule wardrobes. So I don't have that messaging as clear as it should be because it's a recent even more narrowing down in my niche. But for the longest time, I have been working with women who want to create sustainable and timeless wardrobes. So that has been my marketing message, and that is who I'm talking to. I'm not interested in people who just want to clean their closet out, who just want to organize it, people who just want trends. I'm interested in working with people who really want to make this transformational approach to their wardrobes, and they want to stop buying so much clothes. So that's who I'm interested in working in because that is actually a reflection of me. I don't shop trends. I could care less. I really honestly barely even shop for myself. So the clients I want to work with are going to hold the same ideals. So I am even working on refining that messaging and that marketing for my ideal client. And I'm really excited about it because I know when I'm able to be really clear with who I'm working with, who my services are for, the people that want those services are going to be drawn to that. And the people that don't want to do that, then that's fine. They know immediately I'm not the right stylist for them. They can go find another stylist. They're happy, I'm happy, and everybody is happy. So the second way to really get into figuring out who your ideal client is to give them a name. So this came about as on an actual 1-2 list for me to say give the person a name. Because I was working with two current Beyond members one-to-one, and one of them, so we always go through the ideal client, and it's fun because these two people are basically, they started at the same time, so they're going through the same flow and process, but they're different people, so there's different conversations. Anyway, tangent. But in one, the ideal client, she gave the client a name. I think the name was Betty, and Betty was really a reflection of her. But because she gave that client the name, she was able to hone really, really deep down on literally everything about the client, where the client worked, the client's income, where they live, you know, what their challenges are, like where they work. I don't know if I said that. So just all of these very specific things. I think a lot of times when we do ideal client stuff and we're trying to figure out that avatar, we start backwards. We start with saying like, where do they work? You know, what do they do? Where do they live? But I think if you actually start and give them a name, that helps formulate it in your mind as like a real person. And then you can plug in some of those really specific details. So with the other client, we were working on ideal client stuff, and she had a really kind of great first go at her ideal client, but it was still very vague. So for example, it was her ideal client was working with, we're gonna say career-oriented women, like between the ages of 25 and 40. So it's still pretty vague. So then what I had her do is really go back through and talk through her current client, who is her ideal client. And I just had her start describing that client to me. You know, what are those clients' values? The client has, you know, like strong faith. Where do they work? You know, they have a lot of things going on, speaking and presentations and things like that. And they know that clothing is important to them, but they don't know how to get there. They don't have time to do it. And they have strong family values and they put themselves first. And her walking through describing that client to me allowed her to really see who her ideal client was. Before, it was really hard for her. Well, I'm not going to say it was hard for her, but we were speaking in generics, too generic of a situation. And we were able to nail down into actually a client she was working with to say, okay, this is a description of this one client, but you can see how you could sub out some of these things. So for example, you know, this particular client, you know, does speaking or things like that, but she could have another client that's very similar and maybe her career ambitions are to build like a website or things like that. But putting those specifics and really describing that client helped that light bulb moment go off for her to say, yes, that's exactly who I want to work with. And so the third thing for finding your ideal client is to get specific. So we were kind of talking about that. You give them a name and then you get specific. And it really is specific. I think sometimes when we hear and do go through all the exercises of write your avatar and write out your ideal client and all of this like rigmarole, we kind of roll our eyes and we're like, ugh, why do we have to go through and do this work? I just want to make a pretty website. But it is integral that you know this client that you're talking to and you know who they are before you start to do anything else. So there was a Marie Forleo podcast that I listened to. It was kind of an older episode. I forget the number, but it was essentially talking about how do you make your business stand apart when you all do the same things. Okay, there are like 205 members in this group. We are all personal stylists, you guys. And like we're probably 1% of personal stylists in the entire world. So there's a lot of personal stylists out there. We all basically do the same thing. So how do you set yourself apart? You find yourself an ideal client and you freaking talk to that person in a way that's going to make sense to them, okay? So this is going to be probably another like Facebook Live for another situation and talking about client pain points. And again, that's something I teach in my membership and in one-on-one work and in group settings with clients. We really go into this and work through it. But you're going to have to know who that ideal client is and know what issues they have to be able to speak to them. And it's going to be a lot different than anybody else. And so even, for example, using maybe me, for example, with if I'm looking at working with people with capsule wardrobes, there could be other people that actually also do capsule wardrobes, but we probably could have two different marketing languages and different ideal clients because, again, we're different people and we have different things to offer, even if we're offering something that is pretty similar. So I want you to walk away from this really knowing to hone in on who that ideal client is. And if you're having trouble figuring out what your message is and what your services are and how to, put it together on a website, or you're having trouble booking clients, then you need to go back to this foundational level and really take a look at your ideal client and ask yourself, are you just putting together services that you think work or services that other people do? Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know where your audience is and what they like and what they don't like? Are you specific enough? You may not be specific enough. That's a fear that a lot of my clients have to work through, my coaching clients, because they are really scared to be specific in their niche. They think that it's going to or be specific with their ideal client because they think it's going to hinder their progress or cut themselves short from the market, or they're not going to make as much money. But the opposite is actually true. When you are able to 100% know that someone is speaking to you in your language and in the words that you like to use, then you know that person has a solution for your problems. If the things that these people are saying are very vague and you can't really pinpoint how this person is different from anybody else and why this person is speaking to you, you may be less likely to go with that person. So you are not only helping your clients when you have a really clear idea of who your ideal clients are, you're helping yourself because you're going to be able to set yourself apart in the market. And that's what we want to do. I don't believe in scarcity. I definitely believe that there can be a million personal stylists and we can all still do really well because everybody's different and everybody's ideal clients are going to jive with them in a different way. So don't fear that at all. Know that there's plenty of space and there's plenty where all of this came from. But you do need to, as a sound business practice, know your ideal client. And you need to do that first. So that is my soapbox on ideal clients. I think I posted yesterday in the group. I'm just going to go see if there's any questions under that post. Although I think I said yesterday that I was going to do the Facebook Live today, but then I put yesterday's date. It's been a week, you guys. It's been a week. So let me just go see. Let me know if you are watching. There's a few people watching. Please say hi so I know who you are. If you have questions, put them in there. And I have a few more minutes this morning before I have to move on to other things, but I will answer those questions. Oh, I see all of your comments. So this is really random, guys. When I'm doing a live, like in just looking at the video on my computer, I don't see the questions that pop up. So I have to go back to and open up another tab. So anyway, Aubrey, hello. Lisa, hello. Janelle, hello. I'm talking to you in a little while. But so Lisa, back to the drawing board to figure out my ideal client. Yes, you might have to go back to the drawing board and that's fine. That's 100% fine because sometimes we just shortcut ourselves the first go round because we maybe are unsure, we don't know what we're doing. And then also we grow and we change and we evolve, right? So when I first started out, I'm pretty sure my ideal client was everybody. I was like, I will just style everybody, right? I want to make money and everybody needs help. Although I knew I wasn't doing men, so I was doing women. And then it slowly kind of evolved. And at one point I was like, oh, I really want my ideal client. It's going to be kind of boss babes, quote unquote, because that was where I was at the time. I was like, oh, I just want to help all these women that own businesses. And that was who the clients I was getting. I was getting women that own businesses. But now even my ideal client has evolved even more as I'm coming into what I want to do and what things I'm passionate about and where I feel my skills are. So that's evolving even for me. So know that it's okay for those things to evolve. It's fine and it's good for business. You don't want to change it all the time, right? You don't want to change your ideal client every year or you're never going to get traction in what you're doing. And so I would say the second evolution of mine for my ideal client has been, it's a natural evolution for me to kind of just make this next qualifying step. I'm not changing what I'm doing. I'm really not necessarily changing marketing too much, but I am adding in kind of okay, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to be working with people. If you're interested in doing this, this is my approach, or it's going to be a subset to my existing services since they're already kind of focused a little bit on capsuling and things like that. So anyway, let me tune back over here to this other page since Facebook is a wreck and see if there's any other questions, and then I'm going to hop off. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I have a survey that I am, sorry, now I see the other comments. This is so annoying that these don't pop up automatically. Hi, Yolanda. Lisa, I wanted to dress my clients according to my style, but I'm sort of chic street. Lisa, I think I remember us talking about this, but I like the boss babe clients, business speakers, etc. Because I think my recommendation to you was to, find those clients, because I think you have motivational clients, motivational speakers-ish. So find the clients that can dress a little more casually. Find the clients that don't have to be in a suit and tie, and there's plenty of them out there these days. So I think you can kind of do that. You don't want to clone yourself either though, right? You don't necessarily want to have little Lisas running around. But I think you can kind of pull to yourself and pull to your style as a way to dress the clients. And I do think I talked about this in another live, but Maeve Riley, who's a celebrity stylist in LA, you guys may follow her. She is just a really good example, I think, of she has a very specific style in and of herself. And a lot of how she dresses her clients, that is a reflection of her and how she dresses personally. I think she has a very like edgy, cool street style, and so that's reflected in her clients, but not all of them, right? So like Janelle Monáe, when she styles her looks, those are pretty different from when Maeve is styling, say like Hailey Baldwin. So she's still not necessarily recreating her style on every client, but she is putting that edginess in all of the looks for her clients. So that is like a little side track tangent on that. Making sure there's no other questions, and I'm gonna wrap it up. Oh, what I did want to say is I am doing a survey. I released a survey in, I don't want to reload this page, my newsletter list, and I'm gonna put it in the comments here. I would love to get feedback from you, ways that this platform can help you guys grow as stylists, ideas for things that I wanna launch in the future, and ways that, again, this can be a really good resource to help you guys get where you want to go in your businesses, and help you get there faster than kind of struggling through it on your own, because that was me for quite a few years. So I'm going to put that link in the comments, and I would love if you guys are watching. I know Aubrey, you already filled it out for me. Thank you. So please fill that out. I would appreciate it. And that is all. I will be back next week. Keep posting your questions. Keep supporting the other stylists. Thank you guys for making this an awesome community. I love being able to get in here and just chat with you guys, see what you're doing. You guys are doing some awesome things, and it's always fun to see the creativity that you guys are bringing to the table. So thank you for that. This wouldn't be the same without you. And that's it. I got to rock and roll. So I hope you guys have a really awesome Thursday. Get out there, do your best for all of your clients, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.